Hello everyone, and welcome to another beer review. Now, today we're doing a beer for Christmas Eve. And I was thinking, what type of beer should I do for Christmas Eve? And I thought, well, there's a type of beer that I do like. And it's one of my favourite styles of beer. And I was thinking, well, why don't I have one of them for New Year's Eve? And it's a nice little kind of starter for the Christmas period. So, if people haven't realised, I'm up in Scotland. I'd said in previous videos that I'm up here to kind of sort my dad's kind of estate out and sort out his house and things like that, because unfortunately passed away. And I've done some other videos so far. They'll be going out between Christmas and New Year. They were more kind of Christmas style beers or more kind of winter style beers that, I'll be totally honest, not that great. So that's why I thought I don't really want to put them kind of before Christmas. I'll put them in between because they were just a disappointment. But oh well, such is life. So today we're going to do a Yorkshire bitter. Ho ho, yes, because I do like Yorkshire, but I like bitters in general. They're one of my favourites, and Yorkshire bitters are probably my favourite out of all the types of kind of traditional bitters, just because they have a bit of more bitter edges. There's a bit more robust flavour with them. The ones you get down south, they usually can be a little bit lighter, especially in the back end. But yeah, so this is basically powered by beer, so it's Ilkley Brewery, and this is Joshua Jane. It's 3.7%. Again, I'll put more of the details down below. Now, is there anything on here? Yorkshire bitter, Yorkshire's best, named after Mary Jane's suitor, representing everything great about traditional Yorkshire bitter. Rich nut brown colour, and the soft caramel flavour is fused with our unique hop character. God. There's something here about the malts, but there's no way I can read that. Oh God. They've got pairing notes in this. That's not a good sign. But they've got malts and hops. I can't quite read because the writing is so small. So I will basically put that down below, because what I'm going to have to do is take a photograph of it and then enlarge it, because even these glasses can't read that. That's just ridiculous. So it's brewed and bottled in England. And it's the Ilkley Brewery Company in Ilkley, funny enough. There we go. And any other information on that? Well, it does say drink with casserole or blue cheese. Because they're exactly the same. I mean, I've got to admit this. There's many times I've been eating a casserole thinking, I could do some blue cheese with this. Come on, seriously. It's just any old shit, isn't it, they put on the bottles? It really is. Any type of ingredients, anything really? No, it's just basically water, malted barley, oats, hops, yeast. That's it, nothing else. So yeah, 3.7%, 500ml bottle. So let's crack it open and see what it's like. Oh, come on, trick. Here we go. And we'll see what we get. So yeah, I've been up in Scotland for a week. Only problem is I was also doing work when I'm up here as well, and work's gone a bit kind of weird, because in the last 5 days I spent 3 of them in England. Go figure. Anyway, that's just how work sometimes goes about. But anyway, as we can do this, it's a nice kind of reddish brown colour. I wouldn't say amberish. There is an opaqueness to it. There is a bit of cloudiness to it. It's not completely clear. I can see my fingers through it, but there's a little bit of opaqueness to it. And there's about a 1 finger head for people on the podcast, and it's just slightly off white. Smell? Well, first thing I'm getting is hops. I'm getting some nice floral smells here. I'm getting some nice malt and a bit of grain. Some people call it a biscuity malt smell. It's not biscuity because malt isn't biscuity. It's the grain that gives you that kind of biscuity, kind of digestive kind of smell. The malt doesn't give you that. The malt gives you kind of caramel tones and toffee tones and all this type of stuff. So when you say, oh, biscuity malt, no, 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 it's rubbish. It is absolutely rubbish when you say that. If you're going to say it, do it properly. If you're not going to do it properly, then just shut up. You know, that's my kind of view. But yeah, I'm getting floral hops. I'm getting some grain, and I'm getting that light kind of back end, ever so slightly kind of caramelly malt. But you can also get a bit of sweetness so you can smell as well. But overall, it's quite good. So let's see what it tastes like. I'm a happy boy. I'm a happy boy. They're not mucking about with it. That's always the problem. I was kind of frightened. It's the case. Nowadays, you can go and buy something and it's got all the right kind of messages on the label. Oh, it's this and it's that and it's wonderful and all that. And then you get it and you think, no, they've tried to be too smart. They've tried to be too modern or tried to be too kind of groundbreaking and they've lost it. I mean, a good traditional beer should just be brewed like a good traditional beer. It's trying to get the best traditional flavours out of there without trying to kind of add stupid adjuncts or kind of silly concoctions. And from this, what I'm getting is I'm getting a nice bit of malt at the start with a bit of grain, nice little light sweetness. Moving on to the mid-tongue, you know, you're getting that kind of base flavours of you've got the grain, a bit of malt, you've got the frolness of the hops coming through in the mid-tongue, and then it's giving you a nice kind of bitterness at the end. Not a bad bitterness, not, you know, that type of bitterness. No, just a nice roof of the mouth bitterness, not back of the throat sourness, but a nice roof of the mouth bitterness. And it's nice to taste a beer that's just, well, it appreciates that there's a reason why these beers have been so popular over the years, while they've managed to kind of last the decades. The reason why is because they really are good beers. They are good recipes, they're nice flavours, they have a nice balance to them, and if done properly, well, let's be totally honest, a good traditional beer done properly, especially an English ale, some of the best beers in the world. People will go on about German and Czech and God knows what else and that, and the Belgian beers. But let's be totally honest, a damn good, traditionally brewed, well brewed, with good ingredients, English ale, depending what your preference is, it's some of the best beers in the world. And I think one of the biggest problems, especially in this country, is we don't appreciate it. Nowhere near enough. The Germans have waxed lyrical about their beers. The Czechs will wax lyrical about their beers. The Belgians, oh well, it's a fine art over there. It's more important than wine. Great, wonderful. But we don't really kind of, how would I say, is really support good beers here. And we don't appreciate them anywhere near enough. And we're too quick to basically jump on the bandwagon if media says this or the media says this beer's good or that beer's good from this country, then that's it. You know, it's got to be better than our beers, and we do tend to kind of drop our panties and show our private parts to any other country's beers. It's a bit of a strange analogy, I know, but you know, we do tend to drop our panties and just kind of show everything off in the hope for a bit of attention, and it's quite sad in my view. But yeah, it is a nice beer. Oh, I could have a right good session on that stuff, not a problem at all. Like I said, it's one of the big problems is you buy a beer for review, you start reviewing it and you think, oh bugger, I've only got one. So this is it, this is the highlight, you know, the review is the highlight, because it'd be nice to see cases, all right, I do this review and then I can go away and have a couple afterwards and just sit back, relax and enjoy them, but I can't because that's it, the one and only, as Chesney Hawkes used to say. Don't know why that came to my head, but anyway. But yeah, this isn't one hit wonder. But yeah, it's a nice beer, and it's got the flavour. And this is the thing. A lot of times with bitters that I find is there's not enough malt there, so it lacks a bit of body. The grain's got to be there to kind of balance it out. If there's not enough grain there, then the malt can become a bit kind of too sweet, and some of the flavours that you get from the malt just kind of push it in the wrong direction. So again, first of all, you've got to get the malt and the grain kind of balanced right. That's the first thing, especially at the front of the mouth, and it's a good start with this one. There's a good start to the front of the mouth. Nice little bit of caramel there from the malt, a good amount of grain, and just a light sweetness there. And that just runs all the way through, that nice light sweetness. And like it says, when it moves on to the kind of mid-tongue, the malt and the grain just slightly dissipate, just slightly lessen. So it does. But you're starting to get the hops kind of making an appearance, and they are just getting that floralness first. And the mid-tongue, you're getting more floral, getting little accents of bitterness, but the main thing you're getting is the floralness, which is just quite nice, because a nice level of hop floralness goes really well with some nice grain and malt flavours. It's a kind of little triad going on there in the mid-tongue, and it works well. So you've now got a good start at the front of the mouth. You're getting a nice, pleasant, consistent mid-tongue. But as it moves to the end of the mid-tongue, you just start to kind of feel that these kind of bitter accents are starting to kind of ramp up a bit. And yeah, you're getting that kind of nice bitter finish. Now they ramp up, but it's one of these ones in the roof of the mouth is you're actually basically swallowed, and you're just getting this kind of slight kind of accents of bitterness still in the roof of the mouth. And it's just nice. It gives you a slightly, almost bitterness, but with a slightly creamy edge. Just a slightly kind of ever so slightly creamy edge to it, and it just really is very nice. And overall, I've tasted bitters where the floral's been too much, to the point as it tastes like it's been been made with rose water. It's just too floral. The floralness is too much. I've had it where the malt isn't enough, and it just gives you, it's lacking body and it's kind of watery. Or you get a good front, a good middle, and then you get to the back end and the bitterness is lacking. It's not enough. I've never had it where it's too much bitterness. I've had it where it's less bitter and more sour, just because of some of the hops they've used. We think, well, let's use kind of New World hops and things like this, and use more like an American style. And yeah, you're not getting the bitterness anymore. You're getting more of a sourness, so you're getting kind of pithiness and everything else, and it's at the back of the throat, not the roof of the mouth. And you're getting all this, and you're thinking, no. Where this is nice because they've got everything just nicely balanced. And for me, it's a good, traditional, simple Yorkshire bitter. And when I say simple, I'm not kind of detracting from it. It's supposed to be a kind of simple beer. It's not supposed to be a complex beer. It's slightly one-dimensional. The reason is it's everything is to kind of get to the kind of bitterness at the end, and that's why it's called a bitter. But it's not as easy. I mean, it sounds simple and everything else, but it's not easy to achieve, because you have to give it the respect, you have to use good ingredients, but you have to know what you're doing, and you have to obviously get the recipe right, and consistency is another thing that's a big problem with brewing. And yeah, I don't know what the consistency is like. This is the problem. You don't always get the full picture of what a brewery's like or what it's doing by tasting one bottle. Yeah, it can be fine, but maybe from the next batch it may be slightly different and not quite as good, or might even be even better. You don't know. But for me, this beer is it's what I like. It'd be nice to have this on cask. It'd be nice to actually try it on cask. It's fairly nice in the bottle. I think it'd be a lot nicer in cask, which of course is what they're traditionally made for. They're not really made for bottles or cans. These type of traditional beers really should be drunk on cask, and they are a different animal if they're on cask. They pour differently. There's a far different mouthfeel and everything else to it. And that's the beer in its prime because, again, it's fresh, it's done at the right temperature. And yeah, my view is if you're going to want to appreciate traditional beer, is go and try it in a cask if possible. Go to local pubs, go to pubs. Now, again, one of the problems is bad pubs can ruin beers because they don't manage their casks well, and you end up getting, off beers or beers that have basically deteriorated in quality because they haven't really kind of maintained them, looked after them, or are selling them past their kind of shelf life. A cask really should only be 2 to 3 days kind of max. If you're starting to get to day 4 and 5, then yeah. And again, if it's at the wrong temperatures and everything else, or if you haven't kind of how would you say, managed it in the right way, then yes, one of the big problems is when you're allowing the casks to settle, because one of the major things is that you've got to set them up in the right way, so when it runs out you're ready to basically go with the next cask and everything else, and they've got to have time to settle, so you've got to give them time to settle, or from being delivered and things like that, they've got to get down to the right temperature, and all these type of things. So the best way to drink these beers is in a pub on cask, but again, unfortunately, that's a bit of a dying art in a lot of places that they don't really have cellarmen in a lot of pubs nowadays, and it's all kind of done by the landlords. And again, it just depends what the landlord's like and what their attitude is towards traditional beers, because it is a lot more hassle than, say, changing your kegs for your kind of Carling lagers and Fosters and Peronis and Stellas and all this nonsense, and even your Guinness from that point of view. But when you're tapping casks and things like this, well, it's got to be done right. You've also got to make sure that the air doesn't get in and things like that. And yeah, you've got to do it in a good way, and you've got to know what you're doing. So yeah, I have been to pubs where I've had, in fact, the last bitter I actually had on cask was undrinkable because the beer was off. So there you go. That says a lot. So that was my kind of last attempt of enjoying a bitter, and it was a local bitter down in Devon, and it was a local pub, and it was just crap. It really was. I took a couple of sips and I said, "No, that's fucked." Basically, you've it's off, absolutely off, just dreadful. And yeah, that was it. I didn't stay for anything more. I didn't look for anything else they had. I thought, right, that's it. The guy I was with said, right, you finish your drink and then go ahead, because I'm not looking for anything else. Quit while you're ahead, and that's what you have to do. So yeah, you're not really getting the real effect from the bottle, but it's still better than nothing. So what would I give this out of 10? Well, seeing it's one of my kind of favourite style of beers, and it's done quite well, that's a good thing, because I've had plenty of them that haven't been done, whether they're Yorkshire bitters or any other type of bitter beer. But yeah, it's actually quite a nice Yorkshire bitter. I like it. There's enough malt there, so it's got enough body. Could you add a little bit more malt? You could do. You could slightly ramp up a little bit more and just give it a bit more body. But for sessionable wise and everything else, I think it's not too bad. It's fairly fairly close to being in the right place. And if you look at it, because sometimes you want beers to have bodies and other times you don't. And with this one, I just think the way the flavours are and everything else, I don't want it to have too much body, because the flavours are set up for it to be quite sessionable. The flavours are nice and clean. They're easily distinguished and identified. but they're not overpowering. They're not overly rich or anything like that. And I just think it's set up. They set it up as a more kind of sessionable drinking ale, and I think that's what they've achieved. And I don't think it needs any more body. I think what it's got is enough. So out of 10, what would I give this? I'm going to give it a 7. I'm going to give it a 7. I don't know what the price is, and but yeah, I think it's quite a comfortable 7. Not a problem. I like it. I don't know what this powered by beer is. I don't know what that means. It's just strange. I'm not a big fan of pairing notes and labels and all this nonsense. I mean, if I'm basically having a beer, I can pick and choose. I'm quite capable of understanding. Yeah, that's beer. Yeah, I'll go quite well with that. I'll have that type of beer if I'm having something to eat and things like that. I'm quite capable of working out myself. You know, I can turn around and think, well, a good Yorkshire better. But I'm not going to have it with some sticky toffee pudding, am I? You know, seriously, you know. But hey, would I believe them if they put it on the label? Would I bollocks? So yeah, it's a nice beer. I would recommend it. Give it a go. I just wish I had a bit more of them to kind of have a bit of a session. But yeah, the Joshua Jane Yorkshire Bitter, 3.7%, 500ml, 7 out of 10. Yeah, if you see it going about and grab a couple of bottles, I would recommend it. Thanks for watching. Cheers. Bye for now.